Here's the more Big 12 wins for BYU. We are live in Studio B with your day-to-day BYU sports play-by-play. I'm Spencer Linton alongside Jarom Jordan. Time to welcome in a friend of the program. He's back, Brett McMurphy, college football insider and expert with the Action Network. Brett, welcome back to BYU Sports Nation. How are you today?
Good to talk to you guys. I've got a chart on my wall, like all my radio hits all around the country. And like from 2000, I'll say like 18 to 2022, like BYU, Utah hits #1 for me.
It's been a minute.
You guys getting the Big 12? Okay, we don't need McMurphy anymore.
The irony is there's Big 12 news. Now we're bringing you in. We appreciate your time. Always, you're a busy guy. Okay, so last week, we'll talk about private equity in a second, but you were reported that, hey, the naming rights deal with the Big 12 could be Allstate, right, for up to $50 million. What have you learned about this situation, and what could be the Allstate 12 potentially?
Well, when I reported that, the reactions on Twitter were pretty predictable. A lot of creative other name suggestions for Big 12 and other conferences. But look, here's the bottom line. Tradition is long gone. The Big 12 and other conferences are seeking naming rights. And like I reported, Allstate's the leading contender. The #1 candidate for the name of the league anyway would be the Allstate 12 Conference. Could earn up to $50 million a year annually. Not certain how long that deal would be, but it's certainly not going to be a short-term deal. And that adds another, $3 million or so for each of the member schools. And while that doesn't seem like a lot, it's basically, if you're not named the Big Ten or the SEC, you've got to do some of these things to generate more revenue because of what lies ahead with college athletics. We don't know what's going to happen, but we do know this. The conferences with the most money are going to be the most successful. And so that's why they're looking to do this. And when you guys had reached out over the weekend, I had actually, a friend of mine sent this to me. I had even forgotten I had reported it. 11 years ago when I was at ESPN, I wrote the column that when the Big East was breaking up from the football schools and the non-football schools, that they should sell the name of the conference to a corporation like the AT&T Corporation. And it's funny, a lot of things I wrote 11 years ago actually still resonate as true now. And it's funny, obviously the conference ended up being called the American Athletic Conference. The first recommendation by Mike Oresco to his board of directors was the America 12 Conference. And his presidents said, we don't want a number in the name. And certainly that was a smart decision. Obviously for the Big 12, that's different. You've got a long history of obviously the Big 8 before the Big 12, but with the number. But we'll have to see where this goes. Everybody's going to mock it if you're not from the Big 12. I understand that. But you know what? Once one conference does it, I think a majority of the other conferences, other than the SEC or Big 10, will have some kind of naming rights deals. I know the Mountain West is discussing it. Conference USA is looking at Globe Live. So that's the way of the world right now. I don't like things that are traditional have gone away, but you can either sit there and, walk by the graveyard whistling and hope nothing happens, or you can be aggressive like Brett Yormark and try to get as much revenue into your conference to give these guys the best chance to win.
Brett McMurphy is a college football insider with the Action Network. Follow him at Brett_McMurphy on X. Okay, you just alluded to maybe one of the negatives, and that is tradition going away yet again with the name of a conference. But other than that, Brett, are there any negatives to doing something like this for Brett Yormark and the Big 12, or should I say the Allstate Big 12?
Negatives perception-wise, you could say it kind of makes you seem like a lesser conference, if you will. But I think we're past that time. The bowl games are no longer named after fruits. It's no longer. Remember back when the field goal nets weren't sponsored by a company. The you didn't have 20 different uniforms. I mean, everything's kind of gone out the window. So it's pretty much whatever you will accept. I don't really see a negative to it. It's in a weird way, the NCAA allowing corporate logos on the field just a couple of weeks ago actually could devalue the deal, because now if you're a conference and you rename it after a corporation, you're not the only name on the field, because there technically could be other corporations on the field. But I don't think it's a negative. The number one thing is you don't want to be the worst power conference out there. And that's shown through, history of college football. We had 6 conferences. And as I mentioned before, when the Big East split with their football and basketball schools, well, then the Big East became the worst football conference. What happened? They don't exist anymore. So we fast forward a little bit. Who was the worst conference? At least off the field, that was the Pac-12. They don't exist anymore. So now we're down to 4. Well, it's either the ACC or the Big 12. So how long will this go on? Well, probably till Florida State and Clemson get out. And then I think the Big 12 will be in a great spot then. So, again, you've got to do what you can do. The TV money's maxed out. The college football playoff money is maxed out. And so you've got to look at alternative methods. I mean, is the SEC at one point going to allow advertising patches on their jerseys? Absolutely. So I just think this is just another step in the progression of college athletics becoming professional. And one last thing, I actually asked Mac Brown, that, he's been coached forever now at North Carolina, won a title at Texas. I said, are you kind of sad that college athletics has become professionalized? He goes, what do you mean, Brett? This isn't professional. And I go, what are you talking about? And I went through, the laundry list of things that have happened. And he goes, the professional leagues have rules. We don't have any rules. So that's kind of where the college administrators are now. They've just got to figure out how to do whatever they can do until they figure out what they can't do anymore.
Chaos. That's what it is. Who's going to rule on this? There's no commissioner. It's pretty crazy. You creatively mentioned that Waffle House should be the SEC sponsor with the House of SEC at the end there. Waffle House. I like that. Some people have put out there, like Barstool Big 12, the Buc-ee's 12 if Allstate didn't work out. There's some fun brands that could come to fruition here. But do you fully expect the Big Ten and the SEC and the ACC, as you mentioned, to follow suit? And then do you think they will follow suit in the private equity game as well, as Florida State has done as an individual school, but as the Big 12 looks to seek an influx of cash? Do you anticipate that other leagues will follow suit among the power leagues?
No, I don't. The Big Ten and the SEC don't need to, because right now they're making $50 million on average more than the Big 12 and the ACC schools. The ACC, that's a different situation. Jim Phillips, their commissioner, tremendous man. He is a traditionalist. And so, they're kind of slower to kind of do these kind of aggressive things like Yormark's doing. And they're also got, they've got their 2 biggest brands soon to get out of the league. So I think they're just trying to survive at this point. But no, I wouldn't expect the Big Ten or the SEC to do any kind of naming rights deals. I think this is 10 years down the road. I kind of compare that to the Rose Bowl. Those two, like to the Rose Bowl. They've got enough money. They've got the tradition, certainly, where I think if they did wanted to do something, then what you would see would be the SEC presented by Golden Flakes chips or something like that. It's not going to be a sponsor before the name of the conference. But I mean, look, things change so quickly. I mean, that's the most frustrating thing when you talk to anybody in college athletics. Are we going to be paying the players? Are the players going to be employees? If you want to get really radical, will the players have to go to class? Will that be an option? So we don't know how all this money is how much money is going to be needed. We've got the $22 million lawsuit. Go on and on and on. So yeah, things that right now we think that's crazy, that's never going to happen, that we would have thought was crazy 5 years ago, and is now an everyday common experience. I wouldn't count out the Big Ten and SEC getting a naming deal, but I would be very hesitant to think it happens, or certainly on the level of the Snoop Dogg Gin and Juice Arizona Bowl.
Faux shizzle. Brett McMurphy is on BYU Sports Nation. Okay, now the billion-dollar question, or maybe I should say billions-dollar question, because that's where we are and how much money is being thrown around in college sports. But what do you envision on a timeline for college football and the Power Four as currently constituted? You were just mentioning don't want to be in the worst spot. It's the ACC, maybe. The Big 12 you feel like is in a good spot. So how long will this last in the Power Four before you feel like change is inevitable again, Brett?
I think part of that will be we see what happens with the college football playoff. That starts the new one starts in 2026. We don't know. We still don't know how many teams are going to be in that. It's probably going to be. I mean, it's at least going to be 12. I think they're going to end up at 14. But basically, we've gotten to this point, and this is not to be negative on the SEC or the Big Ten. This is just the way of the world. They are going to do what is best for their conferences, as they should. And so, if they want to do X and all the other conferences don't want to do it or can't afford to do it, then they can split away and do their own thing. Or they can try to somehow get enough revenue and resources to match what the Big Ten and the SEC is doing. So I guess what I'm saying is I don't know. It depends on if the Big Ten and SEC are content with how things are going. I think in the grand scheme of things, they want teams from all over the country to compete in the national championship. I don't think they want to take their ball and go home and just have a Big Ten, SEC national title game. Although they certainly could do it, and the TV ratings, whether you like it or not, would be as high as the current ratings are, or maybe higher. But I don't think there's any certainty on a split between those leagues and the other leagues. But again, because nobody knows, everyone's just trying to get into position. I guess it's kind of like, and I'm not a big race fan, but it's almost like you have the warning flag out, and you just want to make sure you're in the right place so when they finally drop it, so you can start the race, that you haven't shuffled too far back. The problem is nobody knows if it's 2 warning flags or if the warning flag's going to go on for 2 years.
It's a very Big Ten SEC reference there. I like that a lot with the racing geographics there. Okay, regarding naming rights, up to $50 million you mentioned. That'd be $3.125 per team. Is that worth it? Is that good enough? We're expecting that number to be higher? Or is it, hey, these teams don't have anything to do with that, so it's a free $3.125 million?
I actually thought a power league would not go for less than $5 million per school. So I am surprised it is. I'm going to say only 50, but it is 50. But again, it takes 2 to tango. You got to find, a company that's willing to do that. I agree. It's basically free money. It's money you didn't have. And all these schools are trying to find $22 million that they didn't have before because of the House settlement lawsuit. So is, $3 million going to take care of 22? But no, now it's down to 19. You're chipping away. So again, I've been told that people within the conference actually are more in favor of a naming rights deal than perhaps private equity, which private equity brings $50 million in, and all of your financial worries are suddenly taken care of. But then that comes with a lot of unknowns. Somebody owns 20% of your conference. How much say do they have in that? How's that going to impact you long term? Et cetera, et cetera. So I was surprised it wasn't a little bit more. I think you'll see, I mentioned Conference USA in the Mountain West. If they get a deal, I think their deal will probably be worth per school, maybe $1.5 million. Again, yeah, it's changing tradition, but especially for the smaller conferences, I don't think that's that big a deal.
Brett, I remember having a brief conversation with you at Big 12 Media Days last year in Dallas, and you asked me, do you think BYU can find 6 wins on the schedule? And I thought, I believe there is a path to 6 wins. And the Cougars, let one get away against Oklahoma. We're up 18 on Oklahoma State at halftime, and the Cowboys go on to win that game and then go to the Big 12 championship game, leaving BYU out in the cold at 5-7. Now expectations are even lower for the Cougars. If you look at most betting lines and our friends in the desert, they have it at 4.5. So what are your expectations for BYU as the Cougars enter year 2 of the Big 12? And how should we be helping BYU fans prepare for what the Cougars are about to see?
I think the Big 12, without question, is going to be the most competitive, most fascinating, most upside-down league of any conference in the country. And, you know, you talked about BYU last year was 4.5, whether they would get to 6, and now they're only 4.5 this year. Oklahoma State projected wins last year were 6.5. I didn't think Oklahoma State would. I'm an Oklahoma State grad. I didn't think Oklahoma State would get to 6, and they go play in the Big 12 title game. It's so crazy because I think the teams are so balanced. I literally think that you could pick 8 to 10 teams and put them in a hat and pull them out and have a pretty good shot to pick the winner, as if you studied all the depth charts and power ratings and analytics and all that stuff. You know, the key is, you know, looking at, you know, what BYU has against them. I mean, my God, the home schedule, I mean, it's great for the fans. Kansas State, Arizona, Oklahoma State, Kansas, those are four of the teams that will be predicted to win the title by various people. I don't think there's a clear-cut favorite. And then, of course, your friends, you have to go at Utah. They're going to be picked to win it. So you're basically playing the top half of what's projected to be the top half of the league. So good news is if you win some of those games, you're in that top half. The bad news is if you don't, you're not. So it seems pretty clear cut. I haven't broken down all the conference schedules yet. I don't know if you guys have taken a closer look. But just at first glance, you're going at UCF. I think they're better than most people think they're going to be. Baylor, I think, has slipped a little bit. You have to have one of the toughest schedules in the Big 12, if not the toughest schedule. Yeah. But again, that doesn't mean anything. I mean, anything can happen, and that's why football is so great. And, you know, going to play in Provo is not easy for anybody. And I can imagine I don't know if Arizona's been out there, but I can imagine that for the other Big 12 teams, they probably have not been out to Provo, if ever, certainly not. Nobody on the team was probably alive the last time their team went out there. And I think that can be a big advantage for the Cougars. And, you know, I wouldn't count them out. Again, it's going to be fascinating, incredible, all those adjectives. The key is obviously BYU must, and this won't be easy. You got to go undefeated in non-conference play. And yeah, second week at SMU, some people are predicting SMU to be a sleeper in the ACC. So it doesn't get any easier out of conference. So I don't know. Tom Holmoe's had a lot of work to do doing schedules when you guys were an independent, and they gave you a tough one, you know, in conference play this year for sure.
Brett McMurphy on BYU Sports Station. Always appreciate the insight. You can find more of his work, the Action Network. Follow him again at Brett_McMurphy on X. We thank you, sir. It's good to have you back on the program. We won't wait so long next time.
All right, it's cool. I understand. But, yeah, hopefully I'll see you guys out in Vegas for Big 12 Media Day.
You got it. Looking forward to it. Thanks, Brett.
Thanks, Brett.